Hello, welcome to this video tutorial on getting set up with the iCode Tech Programmer Pack. In this video, we're going to take you from unboxing to your first Python program. The first thing you might need to know is, what is the Programmer Pack? Well, at a high level, the Programmer Pack is a tool for learning STEM and programming in Python. It is a 4-in-1 STEM kit that allows you to utilize a Texas Instruments graphing calculator, a microbit microcontroller, a DJI Tello drone, and some pretty fun iCode STEM curriculum. With this kit, you can learn how to use each component individually, or you can learn how to use them all together to automate some fun processes and complete cool challenges. You're going to learn so much about the Programmer Pack throughout this video, so let's go ahead and get started with the unboxing. The first step that you're going to want to do is, on the back of the Programmer Pack, on the sides, there are 2 pieces of tape. Use a knife responsibly to gently cut that tape right there. And now the Programmer Pack box can be lifted up just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and just put that over there. And you are presented with a black sheet that is actually an envelope. And if we pull it out like this, we have our envelope. We call this our flight manifest. You can see right there, our flight manifest. And what this really is, I'm just going to kind of move that box over to the side. The flight manifest comes with a lot of fun pieces of literature. This is actually all the different pieces of information that we have that come with our different partners. So, for example, we've got a microbit. So there is kind of the introduction manual to the microbit. Here is the introduction manual to the Tello drone. You've got the manual for the CX2 calculator. And these are all provided by the manufacturers themselves. So this is a 4-in-1 STEM kit that is using 4 different components, and we wanted to include those so that if you ever have questions on how to get started with each component individually, you can always reference their individual guides. For example, you might have a question specifically on how to charge the Tello drone. Well, this manual that comes with the inside of the flight manifest will have specific information on how to charge the drone. Of course, in the curriculum and online, there are plenty of places where you can get some information on charging the Tello drone, for example, but this manual has the direct information for you right there. So I'm going to move those out of the way. You're going to get this as well with your Programmer Pack. This is a software license for the Nspire CX2 student software. This is a really cool tool for you, which you'll get to see throughout the curriculum. This has a license key on it, which allows you to download the student software from Texas Instruments. And if you want, you can actually connect your CX2 to the student software and do a lot of your coding activities directly from your computer. This is a great tool, and again, the curriculum covers how to get this set up along with the Discord server itself. We've got some different stickers. These are some little microbit stickers. What else we got? We've got this is more documentation from the BitMaker, and if we see, we've got this big piece of paper right here. This is actually the cheat sheet. So you might hear about the cheat sheet referenced in the curriculum. It might take a moment to open it up, and it's pretty big. This is a cheat sheet. It's a pretty big poster, and what it has is specific information for how to code. You can see with Python, operations on the CX2, so different things like how to invoke the second button, how to turn on the CX2, how to access different features. You've got the microbit module down here, so if you want to reference different commands for the microbit. Tello, and then also the Turtle module, which is a software tool that is used inside of the curriculum. This is a really cool little poster that is provided in your Programmer Pack. You can hang it up in your room. Hopefully you can put it up on your wall because it's a nice little display piece. And as you get further inside of your programming journeys, you'll be able to access that cheat sheet to get quick references on how to do things. Additionally, inside of the flight manifest, we include 6 different skins for your Tello drone. So if you want, and we highly recommend you do because it's a little bit of personalization, you can take these stickers and you can put them on your Tello drone. Actually, I'm going to grab the Tello drone real quick just so I can kind of point this out. I'm going to push that back over there. So here's the Tello drone itself. Make sure that it's nice in frame. Each one of these, this goes on the back, so you can see that if it's kind of shaped like that. This is the back piece, so you can actually peel this sticker off and put it onto the back of the Tello drone. This sticker right here goes onto the front camera piece. You can see that it's kind of the same shape. And then each one of these 4 stickers go around the metal casing for the DC motor. So again, you can see that there are 6 different ones. My favorite is actually this one up here. I really like that one. It's kind of a graffiti hodgepodge collection piece artwork, but all of them are really cool, and I think that they add a great way for you to kind of customize your drone. And then again, finally, just some extra stickers, a little sticker sheet. These are all just fun stickers, so maybe you can, give them to a friend, put them on a water bottle, put them on the back of your car. I personally think that one's my favorite, but they're all really, really cool stickers, and I love putting them on different places in my office. So that is that was the flight manifest, and I guess since this piece right here, this little guy is already out, we might as well talk a little bit about what this is. This is the DJI Tello drone. This is going to be one of the centerpiece items for your programmer pack. It is about 7 inches in size, and you're going to be actually learning how to code in Python to make this drone fly. So trust me, we're going to talk a lot about this drone later on, so I don't want to get too carried away all of its different features. This is a really cool drone, and you should be really excited to work with it. I'm going to grab the next piece. So under the drone, this is how everything was packaged, just so we get a clear visual. This is how everything was packaged under the flight manifest itself. We have our drone, and the next piece comes in this black box. And if you are using your Sherlock Holmes skills of deduction, you can probably guess that this is a Texas Instruments CX2 graphing calculator. So here we are, brand new CX2, never been opened. It's still going to have its factory settings, and later on in the video, we're going to explore the different ways that you can get it set up for programming. It's getting a little messy here. That's because there's so much that comes with this programmer pack. This right here is the BitMaker V2 board, and this is an expansion board, which actually I'm going to, instead of talking all about the expansion board, I am going to open up all of these little components. These were all right here. So you get 3 pieces of hardware here, and these 3 pieces of hardware are the Microbit V2 board, the BitMaker V2 board, and the Grove Wi-Fi V2 module. These 3 pieces, and I'm just going to kind of hold them up to the camera so you can see them. This is the Microbit V2 board. This is the BitMaker V2 board. And this is the Grove, see if we can get it in there. This is the Grove Wi-Fi module. So at a high level, again, we're going to kind of explore this outside of the unboxing video, but the Microbit plugs into the BitMaker just like that. Let me make sure that it plugs in just like that. There is a port right here. You can see that it just snaps in just like that. And then you're going to see in just a moment, there's a wire that comes out from one of these ports, specifically port 1, and goes into the Grove Wi-Fi module. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put those to the side. We're going to keep opening some boxes here. This little black battery, this is the battery for the Tello drone. You can see that it's got, I think, 4 little terminals. There are 4 little terminals right here. Those are going to plug into the Tello. And I'm not gonna plug it in right now. Again, I'm trying not to get carried away with all the fun stuff. I want to continue on the unboxing, but we'll show you how to properly plug that into the drone here in a moment. So this box right here, this is our next box. This box is going to be full of wires. This box has all the wires you're going to need when working with the programmer pack for the first time. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different wires. These are the different charging and data cables that you're going to be using with your programmer pack. They all look a little bit different, and that's because they all serve a different purpose. This is a micro USB cable. This is a different kind of micro USB cable, and that's because this micro USB cable is used to charge the drone. This one is used to charge the calculator. This cable right here with its two different color terminals, that is a cable that is going to be used to send data between the CX2 and the microbit. That is its only purpose, and we're going to cover that a little bit later. This little cable right here is used to connect the bit maker and the Grove Wi-Fi module together. So you can see that the cable plugs in to one port on the bitmaker board and one port on the Grove Wi-Fi. And again, I'm going to get all these boxes and everything out of the way, and we're gonna explore these a little bit further. There's actually one other thing that comes with that last box that we opened up, along with all the wires, is some extra propellers and a propeller tool for the DJI drone. So you may encounter an issue where your drone propeller breaks a little bit if you ever crash your drone. Hopefully you don't crash it, but it is quite possible that you crash it. We have provided an additional set of propeller. Just going to leave it right there, but that's what that little bag is. That is extra propellers. So let me go ahead and move all of these wires over here. And this is the last box in the programmer pack. This is the power pack. This power pack, go ahead and hold it up here. This power pack is used to power the bitmaker board. So when I show you the entire setup here in a little bit, you're going to see that this power pack is going to plug directly into the bitmaker board, which is going to give this entire configuration right here the power it needs in order to communicate with both the calculator and the drone. Okay, so that is the unboxing. That is everything you're going to see inside of the programmer pack when you open it up for the first time. I definitely recommend that you try to keep all of your paper leaflets and all of your informational documents inside of the flight manifest, because at first glance, it may just seem like paper, but as you grow with the programmer pack and the different tools in the programmer pack, I recommend that you're going to want to look into those documents a little bit further. Right now, they just kind of seem like information, but later on, you're going to see them as tools for growing with your programmer pack. So that's everything that comes with the programmer pack. Again, you've got the microbit, what I like to call the microcontroller configuration. You've got the battery pack, comes with 5 wires and cables, some extra propellers, a Texas Instruments CX2 calculator, and a DJI Tello drone, along with all the different paper and sticker packs that come with the flight manifest. In this section, I want to quickly kind of cover how the programmer pack works. So the programmer pack is what I like to call 4-in-1. It is a CX2 graphing calculator, it is a microbit microcontroller configuration, and it is a DJI Tello drone, plus the curriculum and the software on how to work with the product itself. This product works by coding in Python on your CX2 graphing calculator. The data, the code that you wrote, is going to be sent to the microbit configuration, and then through a Wi-Fi signal, your drone is going to receive the commands one by one and then execute them. What we're able to do is through programs, through coding, you are going to be able to create flight paths that control your drone to fly however you want. Now, the way that this works in terms of a physical connection, let's go ahead and show how we connect all of the parts. I like to start with the microbit microcontroller configuration because it's almost like a secondary configuration all within the programmer pack. So as I mentioned in the last video, you're going to take the bit maker board and the microbit. The microbit has its logo, an array, and 2 buttons on the side right here. Let me hold that up real close so you can see. I consider this to be the front of the microbit. Then you take the bitmaker board, and with its terminal right here, this terminal, you can actually plug the microbit into that slot. So now you can see that the microbit sits perfectly inside of the bitmaker board. From there, this 4-pin connector cable is going to plug into P1. That is this port right here. You can see that it has a P1 on the port. Let me try to get that even closer. There's a P1 on that, this one right here. You plug the cable in. Take note of the orientation. It always has to be P1. I know that there's 6 available ports, but P1 is the one that we're working with, and that's the one that your drone is going to know how to communicate with. Then you take the Grove V2 Wi-Fi module, and on the other end of that 4-pin connection, you plug it in like that. Okay, so now we can consider this to be kind of one configuration. This is one grouping of objects in the overall configuration. So if we look at it, the calculator is going to, the code is going to be written on the calculator. The commands are going to be sent to the microbit configuration, and then through a Wi-Fi signal, this Wi-Fi module specifically, through a Wi-Fi signal, the instructions are going to be sent to your drone. Additionally, this battery pack is going to get plugged into the microbit bitmaker board. Let me go ahead and do that now. I'm going to use this USB, regular USB to micro USB B cable. So I'm going to unravel that. I have not undone it yet. And you plug the USB cable into the power pack, and then from the power pack, we're going to plug. It's probably going to make some noise on me here in a second. I'm actually going to unplug that real quick. But that's how that connection goes in like that. I don't want to plug this in because it's still got its default flash memory, but I just want to show you that this board is powered through this connection. There's also, if you look, let me get it right into there. There is a little switch right here. See this little switch? This switch is supposed to be switched over to 5 volts. That's 5V on the board. When it's 5V, the little LED is green. When it's 3.3, the LED is blue. It might be a little hard to see that, but when I flip it over, there's an LED that switches to green. So make sure that switch is flicked over to pointing to the 5-volt side of things. So I'm going to unplug this so I can actually connect the microbit back into the overall configuration. Now, before we get away from the initial unboxing and kind of overview of things and start working on flashing the hardware and getting every piece in the programmer pack ready to be coded, each component needs to be charged in some manner. There are actually 3 components in the programmer pack that need to be charged on a regular basis, and this microbit configuration is not one of them. So the Texas Instruments CX2, the battery pack, and the DJI Tello drone, all 3 have rechargeable batteries in them, and it is definitely recommended that before you work with your programmer pack for the first time, that you fully charge each one of these components. Luckily, you were given 3 cables, each cable can be used to charge the the 3 different components on the programmer pack. What you might not have is a multi-unit charging station like mine, but that is okay. If you have any sort of USB box charger wall outlet, you can use those and plug them in to an outlet at your house. So let's look at each component and explore how to charge it. Each component can be charged on its initial charge will take about 45 minutes to charge. So from scratch, it's a good idea to plug each one in and put a timer for about 45 minutes, and that will ensure that all of your batteries are fully charged and you have plenty of juice to work with as you get your hardware set up and you start actually working with the programmer pack to learn how to code. So with the Texas Instruments CX2, there is a USB-A port. You can see that is a USB-A port, and there is a USB to USB-A charging cable. I'm trying to get it so it can show both of those right there. What we're going to do is you're going to plug the USB-A port into the top of the charger, and then you'll plug that in just like that. You can already see that it is turning on for me because it's getting charged up for the first time. I'm not going to play with it. You can already see that it's about to give me the initial welcome screen. I'm actually just going to wait to do that for the next section because we need to let everything charge. This white cable right here, this is a USB to micro USB-B cable, and that can be used to charge the power pack. So you've got your power pack here and your micro USB-B cable, and it plugs in just like that. And I'm going to go ahead and plug that into my multi-unit charging station. Nothing will happen with that when you plug it in, but it will start charging. We'll start charging your battery pack up for you. And now the last thing to charge is the DJI Tello drone. And that also uses a micro USB-B cable. And what you do is you actually plug the battery into the drone, and then you plug the micro USB-B cable into the drone itself, just like that. I'm going to go ahead and you can see there's a plug on the side. Here's the front of the drone right here. And you can see that it is plugged into the side. And I'll do the same thing that I've done with the other components, is I'm just going to plug that in. And when the drone is charging, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but it will start flashing blue periodically. It will just flash blue. And so again, give it about 45 minutes and all of your components will be completely charged and ready to go.
Now that all the components in your programmer pack that have rechargeable batteries have been charged fully for the first time, I want to talk a little bit about what it would be like if you turned on each of these 3 objects for the first time. The first one is going to be the Texas Instruments CX2 calculator. I'm going to try to put it in a way that there's not a whole lot of glare. You can kind of see me over here. Hello, see me in the reflection. So when it's not on, obviously the screen is going to be black, and the way to turn it on is by pressing the on button right there. Let me just go ahead and hit it once. You tap it once, and if this is the first time you're ever turning on the calculator, your first question is choose a language. English is fine with me, but you can see that there's a whole host of all the different languages available. So I'm going to go English US. And to move around, you can use the D-pad here to go up and down. I'm going to go to US, and to select something, you can press enter when something is highlighted. And actually, there's a mouse pad, so you can you can move your finger around. Oh, it looks like it didn't grab English. Let's retry this. English US. There's actually a mouse that you can move around, and I can move it over to OK and hit OK. And then it's going to ask me about font. So let's kind of explore the different options for font. There's small, which is right there. Medium is it's actually showing you the options currently. For me, medium works just fine. So I chose medium, and just like on a computer, you can hit tab too. So you'll find there's many ways to do things on the calculator. So if I didn't want to hit this center button on the D-pad, I could also just press enter. And it says, welcome, the next screen is the home for the TI Nspire CX2 handheld. Here you have added, you can add applications to your open documents. So I'm gonna hit enter to accept. And then this is the home page. So now the calculator is ready to go. It is ready to be used, whether it's being used as a calculator, right? I can go in here and I can do simple operations, 5 plus 5, then I press enter, and I get 10, which is great. I can also go back home. If you ever need to get back to this screen, just hit the power button, the on button one time, because that's going to send you back home. So yeah, now this is ready to go. I'll even show you real quick how to make, Python program. You can see all these different options. So from the home menu, if I choose new, which is 1, I can choose any of the different options. Most of the time you're going to be in here choosing this last option, making a new Python file. But as you use the CX2 for different operations, you'll get to learn what all of these different options are. So for now, I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to hit Control on, and it turns that off. So I'm just going to put that back down where it was. And the next one is the Tello drone. So in the past, if you had purchased your programmer pack in probably 2022 or 2023, the drone needed to be activated. Luckily now, if you purchased your programmer pack past 2024, so January of 2024, the iCode tech team has actually done the activation for you. So once you get your drone, you don't need to do anything with it. It is ready to fly right there and then when you open it up. There used to be an activation where you had to go in and register your drone, but we've already done that for you. So it is programmable and there's nothing that you need to do to get it going. The way that you turn it on is on the, I guess it would be the left side, maybe the right side for you guys. There's a button right here. So the opposite side of the charger, there's the charger cord, and there's the power button. If I just press that power button one time, you'll see that it's flashing. And it's gonna flash a number of times. I'm gonna put it here so there's no glare on it. But it's gonna flash a number of times in a couple different colors. And once it's ready to fly and ready to be connected to your programmer pack Wi-Fi connection, that LED right there is going to flash yellow consistently. So right now this drone is ready to go, ready to fly, and ready to be programmed. So I'm just gonna hit the button again one time, and you see it turns that LED off, so that's turned off. Now, the last thing that I wanna do is, previously when I was showing you how all of the different components work together, I started to plug this microbit into the power, and it started to make a noise and I didn't want that, so I stopped it. But I'm actually gonna show you what that looks like. So when you first open the microbit, it has a default program written on it. And if I power, this is a different way that we powered it. I'll actually show that. I'm gonna bring this bitmaker board in here so I can show the difference. When I did it a moment ago, when you're using it for the programmer pack for coding, you're going to take this and take this power cable and you're going to plug it in to the back there. You're going to make sure the 5 volts is on, and you are going to plug that in. And you can see that it turns on. I'm actually going to put this over by the speaker real quick. So you should hear it's making some noises. And it's also doing some different things with the LED array. It says hello, all those kinds of fun and basic things. The reason I didn't want to show you early is because I wanted to kind of talk about it and let you know that this is the default software that's installed on the microbit. We're actually going to go through here in this next section and teach you how to add the correct software onto this microbit so that it knows how to take code from the calculator receive the code, and then turn it into commands for the drone. So, but that's one way to power it. So another way to power it is to just take the microbit and plug it directly into the battery pack. You can, this is, if you're ever going to use the microbit in an isolated capacity, you can do this, and you can actually put programs on this microbit and then just turn the power on, and it will run as we see here. This is actually a cool little program. If you want to take a moment before you flash the hardware, flash the software that allows the three components to work together, you can kind of play around with this a little bit. It actually is prompting me to press the different buttons. So here's the B button. I press the B button, and it goes through its cycle. And that will happen every single time that you plug it in. So you notice if I unplug it and then I plug it back in, the same sequence will happen from scratch. It's just a basic hello software message to you. So that is how we turn on everything for the first time. So really only the CX2 calculator is in need of any sort of registration or setup, right? We just chose the font size and the language on that. Everything else is ready to go, and we'll show you how to get them all working together in the next section.
Now, in this section, we've switched it up a little bit because what we're going to be doing is we are going to be downloading some files. We're going to download them from the curriculum, which is what you can see on the screen. We're going to download them onto our personal computer. Then we are going to extract those files, and we're going to install them onto the physical hardware that is the Texas Instruments CX2 handheld graphing calculator and the Microbit V2.2 board. Both of these hardware components need specific software in order to run the programmer pack properly. There are specific coding tools that the CX2 needs. They're called libraries. We need a library that teaches the CX2 how to control the microbit, and a library that teaches the CX2 how to control the DJI Tello drone. On the other side, as you saw, there is a software installed onto this microbit board currently. There is a specific software that must be installed in order for the communication between the calculator and the microbit to happen properly. So what we're going to do is I'm going to quickly show you how to download this. Where you download all the necessary files are inside the curriculum. So this is section 4, setting up the programmer pack. This is actually the second slide inside of section 4. And you'll get access to the resources tab, which when you click it, you see a whole list of different files. All of these files are solutions files and starter files that come, which you're going to be working with as you go through the curriculum. The very first option is hardware_flash_files. If I click on it, you can see that it is downloaded and the download is done. And I'm going to open up my, I'm in my personal file explorer on my computer now. And this is my downloads folder. And what I'm going to do, if it's a Windows computer like we're doing here, you have to select the file once and press this button that is extract all. And it's basically just going to open a new file, a new folder with the same exact name in the downloads folder. And you can see there's now two folders. One is a zip.zip folder, and the other is just a file folder. Okay, on a Mac computer, you can double click this zip file, this hardware_flash_files.zip. If you just double click it on a Mac computer, it will extract it in the same fashion that we just did on the Windows. Now, if I double click this file and double click it again, there will be 3 files. There's a microbit.tns, a tello.tns, and a TI runtime _3.2.0. These 2 files, these .tns files, are the files that are going to be installed onto the CX2 handheld itself. And those files are the ones that I was just mentioning about that are going to allow the CX2 to know how to communicate and control the 2 additional hardware components through code. That's what these are for. We're going to install those in a moment. And then there's also the TI runtime.hex. .hex files are the file format for flashing the hardware of the microbit V2.2 board. So actually what we're going to do, now that the files are downloaded on our computer, the next step will be getting the files onto the piece of hardware itself. So I'm going to show you, I've got everything lined out here. I've got all my wires. I kind of want to make this as realistic as possible to if you are to be executing the programmer pack on your own. You're usually going to have all of these wires, right? We got 5 wires with the programmer pack. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the correct cable, and let me just find it real quick. And I know exactly which one it is. It is the black USB to micro USB-B cable, okay? So regular USB cable, which is going to plug into your computer. So I just plugged the USB side into my computer. As you can see, it's now connected to my computer. And then I'm going to take the micro USB end and I'm going to plug it into the microbit. And please note that sound is going to happen. So you might hear the sound over my microphone. You can hear it in the microphone a little bit. Let me just point it. So hopefully you might be able to hear that, but it's playing for me. I'm going to now kind of move everything out of the way so you can clearly see that I have the microbit V2.2 board plugged into my computer. And in my case, it actually opened up the microbit. I'm going to close that tab, and just be back in my downloads folder where we were. So what we're going to do on both the Mac and PC, so Mac and Windows computers, a microbit drive should appear, right? This is very similar looking to the Mac computer as well. You should see all your files and drives on the left navigation tab, and they show up as microbit in all caps, and on Windows it's going to give it a label D drive. What we're going to do is, if you're on a Mac computer, all you need to do is click and drag the file ti_runtime_3.2.0. You click and you drag that file over to the microbit, and you can simply let go. So again, I'm going to show you. I just click it once and I drag it to microbit and I let go. And that's for for Mac computers. That is not for Windows. It is a different process for Windows, okay? For Windows, you need to right click, or on my laptop, I use 2 fingers and I click it and multiple options show up. And what you're going to do is you're going to click the one that says show more options. And then there is an option that is send to. I'm going to hover my mouse over send to, and it's going to see all the different options of how I can send this file. There's Bluetooth device. We can compress it. We can send it to the desktop. We can send it to a fax machine if anybody has a fax machine. And the last option will be microbit. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select OK. And this little progress monitor window will appear, and we are currently flashing the hardware of the microbit. I'm sending that file to the microbit. We're actually overriding all of the contents of the microbit. And now you can see that once that is over, the microbit unplugs itself and it plugs it back in. So we are here again with the microbit, because it basically shut it off completely and then restarted it. So you can see it's still here. The one thing that I want you to notice now, once you have completed your flash, and you'll know that you've completed it properly, is if you look at the LED array on the microbit, it now is no longer making noises and doing the light animations with the LEDs and things like that. What it is showing you is the symbol of Texas. And that is, while Texas is a great state, it is not because of the state of Texas, it's because of Texas Instruments, right? Because what we just did is we flashed the Texas Instruments software onto the microbit. Now, internally, this microbit knows how to communicate data between the calculator and itself. Okay, that's a very big deal. You should be very proud of yourself if you get this Texas Instruments logo. Now, if you don't get the Texas Instruments logo, just simply try again. What I've found is that sometimes when you, whether it's, I've had it on both Mac and Windows computers, if you send that file to the microbit, there might be some sort of error, and that's okay. What you do is you basically just try again. You send that file back to the microbit, and in a later section, I'm going to show you some troubleshooting things, and I'll teach you a little bit about how to troubleshoot the error codes that pop up on this microbit. If there's ever an error and it doesn't show that default software, and it also doesn't show the Texas Instruments, it might scan some sort of numbers across the LED here, just like it said hello in the previous section when we were looking at it. If you get an error when you're trying to flash this hardware, a very common 512 error will appear. And in a moment, I will show you how to fix that if the 512 error, or any errors for that matter, appear. But that's going to be in a later section. Right now, I just want to show you how to flash this. So now with the microbit flashed, I'm going to, and this is the same on both the Mac and the Windows. If you right-click on the drive, the microbit drive that appears, there is an eject option. That is the safest way to be able to remove your hardware. So I'm just going to click eject, and you can see that it no longer appears on my my drive. And now all I do is I unplug it, and the microbit is ready to go. I'm going to just move it over to the side for a moment because we are not going to need it for the rest of this section. What we are going to need for the rest of this section is the Texas Instruments CX2 graphing calculator, because now we need to send the microbit.tns file and the tello.tns file to this calculator. And the way that we do that is through a software, and I'm going to show you how to access it from the internet. You have to use Google Chrome. Unfortunately, you can't use Firefox or Microsoft Edge. The web software made by Texas Instruments, it's completely safe. It is a Texas Instruments developed tool. It has to be run on Google Chrome. So you have to, if you don't have Google Chrome, please pause this video and go install Google Chrome so that you can access this website. The website is TI Nspire Connect. If you just type in TI Nspire Connect, you'll see this this first website right here, and I'm going to access it, and it's going to give me a little, cookie reminder. I'm just going to agree and accept. This is the web page that you need, and this web page is really powerful, and in the troubleshooting section, I'm going to cover it a little bit more, but right now, all I'm going to show you how to do is take the files from your file explorer, the 2.tns files that we downloaded, and put them onto this CX2. Later on, I'll cover the different tips and tricks for working with this website, because it actually is a pretty handy website in certain instances. So what we're going to do, just like with the microbit, I've got all my wires, and I need to find the wire that connects with the CX2, and that is not it. I grabbed the wrong wire. We give you 5, and it's kind of a game to find the right one. See, that is it right there. So this is the micro USB-A to micro US or to USB. So that's what that looks like. And one way to quickly tell, you don't need to know the names, is if you just look at the port, if you just look at the connection terminal on the CX2, you go, okay, that's correct, and you can plug that in. And the USB is, connects to your computer, so that one should be pretty obvious for you. So I've now just connected my CX2 to my computer through the cable, as you can see. So we are tethered together, which is really great because now once I'm on this website, if I choose let's get started, right? And the first thing is connect your TI Nspire CX2 graphing calculator to your computer using the USB cable. Check, we did that step already. So step 2 is connect your calculator. And a little a little browser controlled, what would be, acceptance window appears, and you select your calculator and you hit connect, and it might take a moment, but we're just going to wait. And so now you've got a few options, which is really cool. These are the different options that I'll show you how to use later on. What we need right now is the transfer file option. So I'm going to hit transfer file, and you have two options. You have from calculator and to calculator. So from calculator would be if I wrote a really cool program that maybe I want to share with my friends or my teacher or whoever, I can actually connect to this, and I can go from calculator, and I can choose the different files that I want. For this instance, we have files on our computer, and we're trying to send them to our calculator, right? Let me just show those again. We have these two files on our computer, and we're going to send them to our calculator. So I'm going to hit send, and then the type of transfer is from computer. You can use Google Drive if necessary, but I'm going to use my computer. And I know that it's in my downloads folder. I'm going to open my downloads, and here are the two files. I believe that I can select them both. Let's go ahead and try to select them both. And right there, look how fast that was. I selected the two files by holding shift and clicking both files, and it just instantly transferred the files to my calculator. And now if I look at the screen of my calculator, your screen should say document received. And I'm just going to hit OK. And I also got a, kind of a success message on the computer screen. And I can do send more files, which I don't have any more files, so I can just hit back for now. I can go all the way back. I could actually just hit the home button up here. The name of the website will send you back to the top. So that was, now you have both your pieces of hardware have the necessary files for working with the programmer pack. In the next section, we're going to be looking directly at the CX2 on how to activate those files, because there's an additional step on the CX2 to activate the files that we just installed on this calculator. Now that the files have been, the two TNS files have been installed on this CX2, what we're going to do is we're going to activate these files, okay? So starting from the CX2 being turned off, I'm going to turn it on by pressing the home button right here, the on button, right? There's a home symbol, and it also says on, so either way is a correct way to talk about that button. So after pressing the home or on button, I am in the home menu. This is kind of the standard home menu, and there's two columns. There's a scratch pad, and there is a documents tab. What I want to do is I want to access the second option in the documents tab, which is to browse. And I can either use the D-pad to navigate to, I can navigate to browse. What is going on here? Like this. I can navigate to it, or I could also just press the button 2. So again, there's many ways to do this. I just pressed the button 2, and it took me to the right place. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the D-pad to scroll down. And you should see at the very bottom 2 different files. The first one was Tello. Again, let me go back to browse. The first one is Tello, and the second one is Microbit. Okay, that's what the names of these files are. Let me see if I can bring that a little bit closer. You can see. So that is the Microbit and Tello file that we just installed onto the CX2. By selecting one of them, it doesn't matter. We're going to do the same process for both. I'm going to hit enter. So I've got the Tello one selected. I'm going to hit enter, and I get presented with this screen. Now, you can see there are 2 tabs on this screen. There's 1.1 and 1.2. If you press Control and then right, it will move you over to, this is called a Python shell, okay? In this Python shell is where you're going to be able to activate this file. What we do is you press menu, okay? So I'm going to start from scratch. Here I am in this shell. I'm going to hit menu. Now, the first option is 1 tools. So I'm going to go, I didn't mean to, the way that my arms are right now. I'm going to 1 tools. I go over, and then the last option at the bottom is install as Python module. So we're going to install it. And once you're down here, all you do is press enter. It's going to take a moment. And then you should get a message that reads, let me see what it reads. It says installation complete. Tello.tns has been installed as a Tello module. And so that means later on when we create Python files, I can import the Tello tool. And as I've said multiple times, now the CX2 has a list of commands that allow you to control the Tello drone. Now let's do the same exact operation for the microbit.tns file. So I'm going to press 2 browse, and I'm going to scroll down to the bottom with my D-pad. And once I hover over the microbit option, I'm going to press enter. And we get the same kind of setup. We've got a 1.1 tab and a 1.2 tab, okay? I'm going to press Control right, and it's gonna move me over to this Python shell. And from the Python shell, I press Menu, I select Enter on Tools, and I go to the very bottom, which is 8, Install Python Module. You're going to see that right now I'm using the D-pad, but the fastest way by far to navigate this CX2 handheld is to press the number, and I'll show you how to do that right now. If I press Menu 1 and then 8, that is a much quicker way to navigate through that menu structure and get to the action that I'm looking for. Each command, each action within a menu structure has a number or letter associated with it. I find it to be much quicker that if you navigate via if we go back home, right, this is our accept message. If I want to create a new Python file, I can press 1 for new, A for add Python, 1 for new. Let's give it a name. I'm just going to put T for test, tab, and then I can press enter. Now, if I wanted to import the tools that we just installed, I can do menu, A, more modules, 6 BBC microbit, 1 import, and it gives me the next line. And I'm just gonna do it real quick so you can see how fast it is for importing the Tello tool, the same exact setup, just by pressing the numbers associated with the menu options, which you'll see on your own when you're looking at it from your own perspective. It's very clear that every option in the menu has a number associated with it. I'll kind of bring it up. See if the camera can focus on that. 1 action, 2 run, 3 edit, 4 built-in, 5 math, 6 random. So if you choose the number, if you press the keystroke number that is associated with the menu option, you will get that option. And so I find it to be a very, very quick process. So that's great. And in me showing you this, I just verified that both our microbit and our Tello tools have been added because I now have the ability to access them as commands in a Python program. That is something for a further section. All we wanted to do in this section was to activate the .tns files that we installed onto our calculator, which we have just successfully done. Now that all your physical hardware has the correct digital software installed and activated on it, the next step would be to prepare your first program because before you can code the drone to fly or work with the microbit, what we need to do is we need to set up the drone's connection, the drone's Wi-Fi connection between the CX2, the microbit, and the drone itself. And the way that we do that, the first step is going to be writing a program. I'm going to pretend like in the last section we didn't just write a brand new write the program that we needed. So what I'm going to do is from the home menu, I'm going to press 1. And it's going to ask me if I want to save this. I'm going to say no because, again, that was just me kind of goofing around and showing you to verify that we have the tools. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make our first configuration Python file. So when I make a new document, if I hit 1, right, I get this window that has all of our options. And you can see for yourself, the last option is A, add Python. So instead of scrolling down, I'm going to press the key stroke A, and then I get 3 more options. And the first one is one new. So I press 1, and it asks me for a name. And I'm actually going to name this. I'm going to name it config for configuration. CONFIG. So I've named it config. You can see config for configuration. It's kind of a standard way to name a file like this. And I'm going to hit tab twice, and it will select the OK. And I'm just going to hit enter. And here we are. This is a Python file. I can actually write any sort of Python code I want. This is a blank file. There's no code written here yet. And you can see now it has gone from being config to config.py. Okay, that's config.python file for shorthand. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit menu, A, tello, which is 7. So menu A 7, and then from tello import star, which means import all the tello tools. And then it will give me that line of code. And you can see for yourself that the one line says from tello import star. That is the only line of code that we need to get our drone and our microbit and our CX2 calculator to communicate with one another. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to, for the moment, I'm going to put that to the side right here, and I'm going to grab the other components in the programmer pack. So I'm going to grab all my hardware. So I've got just a quick check before before we actually get this going. Let's do a check. We've got our CX2 calculator with our program. Check. We've got our battery pack charged and ready to go. Check. We have our microbit v2.2 board. Check. I'm going to unplug these so we can talk about them again. I've got our bitmaker v2 board, expansion board ready to go. Check. I've got a Grove Wi-Fi v2 module. Check. I've got my 4-pin connector, which connects the v2 module and the bitmaker board. I have my DJI Tello drone ready to go, battery in, charged, check. And finally, the last thing we need is this special custom cable. This was included in your programmer pack, and it is a micro USB B to micro USB A cable. And what that is a direct cable that allows us to connect the CX2 and the microbit together. So let me take a moment, and I'm going to put the entire configuration together for the first time. Remember that the cable should go onto P1 for port 1. And the bitmaker and the Grove Wi-Fi board are connected through the 4-pin connector. Additionally, you want the power cable, the USB to micro USB-B power cable. And what I'm going to do is connect micro USB-A. So in this, what's going to happen is the micro USB-B that goes from the CX2 gets plugged into the microbit itself, okay? So it doesn't get plugged into the back. It gets plugged into the top of the microbit, as you can see here, okay? Then the power pack gets plugged into the bitmaker board, okay? So there's actually there's 3 wires going into this. Let's just look at that real quick. We've got the 4-pin connection cable that connects to the Grove Wi-Fi module. We've got the data cable. Think of this as the communication channel. This cable goes from the CX2 to the microbit. And then we have power, which comes from our power pack to the bitmaker board. Now, what I'm going to do, make sure that you're by yourself. If you're in a classroom, then you want to do this one at a time because you don't want it to be confusing. If you're by yourself and you only have one programmer pack in front of you, that is totally fine. That's kind of the situation we're running here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the on button because my CX2 has fallen asleep. I've got my program that we wrote here, which only says from Tello import star. Now the only thing left to do is to grab our Tello drone, and we have the Tello drone right here. And I am going to turn it on by pressing that little power button right there one time. Just a little tap, and you can see that the LEDs are on the front is flashing. I'm just going to put that up here for the time being, and we're going to wait until that LED flashes yellow consistently. So there it is. That's kind of the all good, ready, waiting for Wi-Fi to connect to. And we have our program, and to run it, we're going to do menu 2 1. So menu 2 1. And the program is going to run. I'm getting a little error, but that's okay. If you get some sort of error, you can just always unplug it and try again. Menu 2 1. Let's see if we get that same little error again. Nope, we're ready to go. So I get jumped into this configuration window, and it's asking me, what is the current setup? I'm going to choose 1, and I'll talk about it in a moment, and press enter. And then from here, it's going to be looking for a Wi-Fi connection between the drone and the Grove Wi-Fi. It's kind of like a little handshake. It's like sharing contact information. We found the drone, and now I'm going to name it. My name is Carter, so I'm going to add a C in there just for identification. So now it's always going to try to connect to Tello C. And this process may take a moment, so I'm just going to put the calculator down and let it start. There we go. We've got happened a little bit quicker than I thought. It says Tello C is connected, configuration saved on microbit. So that's good. We are in the clear. Everything is good. I'm going to hit exit. And the last thing that I'm going to do is actually, I'm going to stop this. And in the next section, we're going to write our first Python program to get the drone taken off. To get the drone to actually take off and fly, after the configuration window, you're probably in this second tab right here. To move to the next tab, you can just press Control left. It will jump you back to your Python program that you wrote. Everything's still on. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit menu A 7 2 1. Now I'm going to press enter to move to the next line. Menu A 7 2 2. And now I have a simple program that just says Tello.takeoff and Tello.land. And I'm going to see if that can run right now. And I'm just going to hit menu 2 1. And the connection that we saved is already saved. And so what it's going to do is it's going to start. It's going to try to connect to Tello C. That's the Tello that I named it. And there we go. Now the drone takes off. And the program is very simple because all it says is drone take off and then drone land. And so the drone should come down any moment now. Here we go. It actually landed in my hands. So it kind of moved up and flew over here and landed in my hands. But there's a very simple program. Let's go ahead and I'm going to turn the drone off real quick. And I'm actually going to unplug everything. Because what I want to do now is I want to kind of talk about what is the code that we just wrote. Okay, so if I'm looking at the program that we just wrote, actually here's the screen that we should have got after your program ran. To move back over to the program, you press Control and then left, and it takes you back to the code. So let's quickly look at the code that we just wrote, and I might actually just put a screenshot of it up on the screen right now. The first line says from Tello import star, and that is letting the Python program know that we will be flying the drone and accessing the Tello drone commands. The next line is Tello.takeoff. Now, Tello.takeoff is the command that is saying the Tello drone that you're connected to, make it take off. Make the Tello drone start flying. And then the next line is Tello.land. So there's only 3 lines to this program. And this program will do just that. Make the drone take off, start flying, then make the drone land. And exactly as you just saw, the drone took off. It hovered for just a moment, and then received its next command, and it landed. And actually what we can do too, during the output of your program, which is really interesting, and again, I'll put a screenshot of that up on the screen currently as well, is during the execution, your program, your CX2 is actually going to be sending commands and then receiving commands. So you can see that there is, after there's a Tello battery charge 81%, Tello C is ready, there's the word takeoff. So that's the CX2 telling you we're sending the command takeoff to the drone. And then there's complete, that's a little response from the drone saying, I took off, I did it, okay, there was no error, there was no, if there's ever an error with your drone taking off, you're not gonna get that complete with the check mark. What you're gonna get is no response or error or something like that. It's going to let you know directly what's happening and why it's not executing the command. Then we get our next command, which is land, and again, we get a completed message back from the drone. So the drone took off and then it landed. Pretty simple program, but what we just demonstrated is that we have successfully configured and set up the programmer pack to fly a drone using Python code. Now that the programmer pack is completely set up and you've unboxed it and you've learned about it and you've set up all the configurations and you know how it works, let's touch on a few ways that you can troubleshoot your programmer pack, because while it is an awesome 4-in-1 STEM kit, sometimes it will have issues. Sometimes your code won't work, and it's not, and it gets really frustrating because the code that you wrote is correct. And I hope that some of the problem solving is on your part. I hope that you take it upon yourself to kind of explore these options and learn more about your hardware. The more you learn about your hardware and how your hardware works and how it interfaces, gives you more tools for solving problems down the road. And the first thing that I want to show you is on the CX2. So I'm here on the CX2 website, the TI Nspire CX2 Connect website, and I'm going to hit connect. And sometimes it takes a moment to connect, but there we go. And we have a few things. So the best one, in my opinion, for troubleshooting is Update OS. If you have your calculator connected to this website and you go to Update OS, if it says your calculator is up to date, then you're good. But if it's not and it needs an update, there will be a button that says update. And with the calculator connected to your computer, you just click the update button and it updates your calculator. I personally have had issues where I'm using a brand new CX2, and once I add the files to the Tello files and the microbit files, when I add the commands to the files, I get this weird inline prompt issue where there's a bunch of extra gobbledygook on the side of the command that has nothing to do with the code that I'm trying to write. And so after I updated my CX2, I got this, the issue went away. So updating your operating system is, I think, number one step for if you're having issues with the CX2. Additionally, if you ever need to reach out to the iCode tech staff or your teacher or maybe the wider online community, if you have an issue with your code, what you can do from the TI Nspire CX2 Connect web app is you can click this camera and you can actually take a screenshot of your calculator. So if I hit capture screen, that's actually the screen of my CX2. So if I was to move my menu option to 4 current, and I capture the screen again, you can see that it changed. So actually, let me go to my current file, capture screen. There's the output from the Python file that we just wrote in this video series. And if I wanted to, I can hit this download button. I can copy it, download it, or I can save it to my Google Drive. I personally usually just download it to my personal computer. So if you hit download, you can see that it downloads it just like that, real quick and simple. So one good option would be to, if you were having some issues, maybe you could take a screenshot of the code that you wrote and download it, and then move over to the output and then download that as well. And then if you need to email that again to the iCode staff, or you want to email it to your teacher, you want to email it to a friend who might be able to help you, because that's a very great way to collaborate, is work with other peers and work together to solve the problem. And so getting those screenshots is a great way to kind of start that troubleshooting process. From a microbit troubleshooting side of things, one thing that happens is if during your Wi-Fi configuration setup that we just went through a moment ago, where I named my Tello Wi-Fi connection C, if for some reason that process didn't work correct, you're going to have to run through that configuration setup again. And what you can do is you can actually flush the settings on your microbit. So give me just one moment so I can plug all of this together. So I'm actually just going to plug the power pack directly into the microbit itself. And you can see we've got the little Texas logo. Sometimes it's a little hard to see with the camera. Now, one thing that you can do is you can flush the saved configuration settings. It doesn't remove the software that has been installed on here, but what it is going to do is it's going to delete the Wi-Fi IP address and the network information that was stored between the drone and the microbit. What you do is you can actually put your finger on the microbit logo right there, hold that, and then with your other hand, you're going to press the button B, and on the back of the microbit, there is another button right here. Let me try to get this into the camera a little bit more. So here's the front of it. You're going to put a finger on the microbit logo. You're going to press the B button, and then once you're holding both of those, you're going to hold that button on the back side for about 3 seconds, and then the graphic on the LED is going to change from a Texas shape to actually a skull, like a skull and crossbones. So let me show you that right now. So I'm going to go finger over the microbit logo. I press the B button, and now I'm going to hold that power button. And when I let go, try again. Oh, I've got to, so keep your finger on it, press the B button, and then let go of the back button. So you see that it's now a skull and crossbones. Again, I press the logo, I hold B, and then I press the back button once, and it flushes everything, okay? Now you can go through and you can restart that configuration process. This skull will change, so just unplug the microbit, and it will change back to the Texas logo the next time that you turn it on. So from there, then you can connect to the, you can reset up the entire configuration, right? We can put the microbit back into the bitmaker slot. We can take our CX2 and plug our CX2 back in, power on the entire thing, plug the power cable into the bitmaker, and then from there we can rerun our configuration process. I'm not going to do that right now, but just to show you that we're still on the Texas shape, the Texas logo, and the configuration has been completely wiped. During the process of flashing the microbit, it is very easy that you can put the microbit into a panic routine, which displays a sad face and then followed by a number. For example, 521 is an error code that I get a lot when flashing, and that is actually the transfer of the hex file data arriving on the microbit is corrupted. So sometimes if you're trying to flash the microbit and maybe you cancel the process or you do something during there, that can happen where your microbit goes into a panic routine. All that it means is that you need to reflash and retry fixing the flashing the microbit itself. This article is a great help, and the link to this is actually in the troubleshooting section of the curriculum. So I don't want to go too deep, but I just want you to know that if you get this, it shows it if I reload the page. If you get something like this where it's flashing some numbers and some sad faces at you, don't freak out. Don't worry. You didn't break your microbit. There's a very easy way to fix it. You just need to try again, reflashing. And that is pretty true with a lot of things in computer science and STEM education. Is if it didn't work your first time, you probably just need to retry. A lot of times something happened with the data being passed from one object to another, and a lot of times it's not even our fault, right? It's not the user's fault. Just simply take a deep breath and try again, and this is a very easy problem to solve. The final piece of troubleshooting that I want to inform users of the Programmer Pack about is that the Tello drone does require a decent amount of light in order to work properly. Obviously, I am under studio lighting conditions, so it is pretty bright in here, but flying your drone in a well-lit room is a key to getting your drone to fly at all. If you try to fly your drone in a dark room, what's going to happen is the drone is going to most likely take off on initial command because it doesn't require any sensor data to actually take off. But once the drone is up in the air, internally, behind the scenes, behind the code that you're writing, it is using infrared sensors to check its position and its height and its relative location to other objects. And so if there's not enough light in the room, those infrared sensors don't work very well. So make sure that you're coding your room in a bright room. I like to do it in a room that has a window with sunshine, or a room with multiple lights. If you're just in your bedroom with a single light and the kind of just your standard bedroom light with a fan, it might cause errors, and it doesn't give a very good output. So the drone will take off and it just kind of hovers and it goes in the wrong way, or maybe it drifts and hits a wall or does something, but it doesn't say anything is wrong. In that case, 99% of the time, it's because there's not enough light in the room. So move to an area where there's more light and try your code again. So that's one tip for troubleshooting when it comes to the drone not flying properly. And there you go. That has been the complete how-to guide in setting up and working with the Programmer Pack. With the knowledge that you will gain from watching this video, you'll be able to work through the takeoff and subscription curriculum provided by iCode Tech, and you should be able to successfully grow in your STEM education. So we hope that this video was everything that you needed in terms of getting set up with the Programmer Pack. If there's any additional questions or information, you can always reach out to the iCode Tech support team at support@icodetech.io. We hope everybody enjoys their Programmer Pack and have a wonderful day.